switching over to Facebook and YouTube Live at this time. So I'm going to end the Zoom so we can jump over to the other environments. YouTube is already live. Give me 1 second to get Facebook on. Judy Rock, are you ready?
Two.
All right, go for it.
Okay, before I begin, may we stand and give energy to our chief and head priest, Hemletta Rasan Kepper.
Everybody turn to the back, please. Wow.
And I ask us to remain standing for our opening prayer. Okay. Amatuan panitir. Sawet tumentin panitir. Auduama. Keti paheru. And translation is thus: give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself for God daily. And may tomorrow be as today. We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the natural rock, the heavens, lying within the plains, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light forth in the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who come to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength and the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their position, and their responsibilities in the grand scheme of things. May we be Ma'akaru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality, and in our moments of crisis and dark nights of the soul, when it appears that everything has turned. So it is, and so shall it be. Amen. Ma'akiru. 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 MC, you may be seated. I greet you, my customary greeting. Let's have food, metal, eat, come out, ooh. How effort and how what it is to be in your countenance, this heru, ra. You are. I'm a Judy Rock and my aunt, Sir Wap, a Judy Rock and my aunt. And I haven't been back up here in a while, so it feels strange. Feels like I'm unaccustomed to it. And I speak every day, as a matter of fact. I speak to 500 some odd students plus another 50 staff every day. But speaking to you always hold a special resonance in my heart. Because I get to share my thoughts. I get to share my ideas. I get to share my philosophies, but not just mine. Making sure that it's aligned to our divine ancestors, our divine elders, and our divine scribes. So today I want to talk about, I don't even have a title for this one. I don't know if I usually have a title. But what I want to talk about is us in the 21st century as well as going forward. And I brought the Hosea, or selection from the Hosea. For us, this is one of our sacred texts. And one of the experiences I had this summer is journeying to Kemet. And to put this into perspective, this was translated by Dr. Malana Karenga, the founder of Kwanzaa, but it's not his words. It's the words of our ancestors. And he took the words off of the temple walls that are still there carved in stone over 5,000 years ago and just put them in a book. So they're there, all of it, and not just the words, but the physical representation of what the words mean. So just what we just did, the duau is on the walls. Our direct kisu, our libation is on the walls. Our ceremonies, wet brim pet, Web and J, Marsharu, they're on the walls. It's amazing. You gotta go to Kemet at least once in your lifetime and experience what our ancestors put in place, because they put it there for eternity. And for us to have an opportunity to remember, reconnect, and then rebuild. So part of the Hosea is called the Book of Wise Instruction. Now I did my message today. Usually I have pen and pad, but I wouldn't transfer it to technology. I know, trying to be in the 21st century, right? So the Book of Wise Instruction, and it's well to observe not just what's in it, but just the title, Wise Instruction. So these are charges that our ancestors laid out. And these instructions are guidance. They're codes. They are lessons for us to observe and to follow that keep us or help us get to where we are trying to go. So for example, the book of Untitled, page 41, number 1 and number 4. If you have your Hosea, you can take it out. And I'm going to tie this back to what we learned earlier in the year, the reading for the season. Hamnetta gave us the reading about a few weeks ago. So it says, be not arrogant because of your knowledge. Take counsel with the ignorant as well as the wise. For the limits of knowledge in any field have never been set, and no one has ever reached them. Wisdom is rarer than emeralds, and yet is found among the women who gather at the grindstones. So be humble, have a sense of humility. So even though you might know something, a friend of mine said it this way: live above reproach, but don't act like you do. So our ancestor, Ptahhotep, has just shared how to do it. And then it also is saying be open, because you don't know everything. And someone next to you, whom you may least suspect, may have something to share and to give you. So be open. Be not arrogant because of your knowledge. The limits of knowledge has not been set. Right? And then number 4, and I personally like this one. Be diligent as long as you live, always doing more that is commanded of you. Do not misuse your time, do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one's time. Do not lose the daily opportunity to increase that which you have. Diligence produces gains, and gains do not endure when diligence is abandoned. So that's about work. That's about work. Be diligent. Work as long as you live. Not part-time, not only on a Sunday, but as long as you live. And diligence produces gains. It also says, do not lose the daily opportunity. So don't, and we get tired, we get frustrated, but do your work. as long as you live, because it produces gains. And the gains might not be evident. Sometimes, and I know we live in a microwave society, you want stuff instantly like that. But as long as you're diligent and you're applying yourself, it's going to come. These are instructions. So we say from the ancient legacy to the living legacy, doing what our ancestors did in their day and time and bringing it to our day and time. We never say that we're all good. We got it all. You know, that there's no need for growth. No, there's always a need for growth. So, Sinette, Linda, I love what you shared because you broke down a timeline. And in breaking down a timeline, you demonstrated your growth as you saw. And that's exactly where we're going. One of the things that is always questioned being a Kemite, and to me, I feel it instantly, is our power. What it means to be a Kemite. It means to walk in power, but it's not a power where I'm stepping, I'm knocking people over. What's that song? Right? We throwing bones. No. The thing is, I got power because I'm standing in a position in alignment with my ancestors so that I'm not swayed, I'm not moved, I'm not easily influenced, I'm not forced to do something that I don't want to do. That's where the power is. And it's not an outward expression or manifestation, it's just internal and it's strong, it's forceful, it's direct, and you know it. So it gives confidence. Now, the other thing I just want to share is one of the things that we need to do and continue to do is have dialogue and to share. This was a few months ago, we celebrated our New Year, Weper and Peck. And one of the things about it is we had these beautiful presentations of the Neteru by our different Tebre groups. But it gave all of us an opportunity to feel and to see how we interpret that which we are working with. But then we get to dialogue, we get to share, we get to reflect on my experience because it's different from yours. And that goes back to our first principle where we're talking about seeking counsel with those who are in our midst because there's much to learn from. And you know, as an educator, one of the things that I always strive to, we say, is you are a continuous learner. There's no such thing as you got it and you're teaching. We learn too. So we learn from our students too, which is sometimes interesting because now I'm working with elementary students, you know. So that's a joy in and of itself. Now, how does this tie into the reading of the year? Hemnetta talked about the two deities. Let me quiz you off for a second, those who are in the room. Who are the two deities governing the season? Mm-hmm. I heard one. Heru. Okay. And who's the other? The governor of our temple. Heru and Ra. This was about, I'm going to say last month, right? So, Heru represents will. He represents courage, willpower. Ra is the Most High. So he represents your highest self, your highest reality. Let me ask you this question. Are you where you want to be? Are you doing what you want to do? Are you living your life's purpose, your life mission? Are you engaged in your life fully, completely? If not, why not? Perhaps there's two reasons. Fear and a lack of will. Fear and a lack of will. Fear sometimes manifests itself as a fear of not just succeeding, but leaving your loved ones. You know, one of the things that, as a Kemite, we walk a path that can sometimes feel alone. You know, we come from traditions such as being Christians or being Muslims, and most of our family members, whom we love, don't understand. You know, you into that black stuff. You know, you're into that, you know, they throw all the names on it. So fear of leaving our family behind, our close friends behind, may keep us stuck, right? Fear of losing friendships and relationships, but also the fear of success. You might say you want something, but do you really want it? Do you really want it? Because the actual thought of possessing it or getting it might actually scare you. You know, we might say we want $1 million. When you think about when you have $1 million, it's like, I don't even know what to do with it. Right? So fear, and this is not a negative thing. It's just bringing to the reality why the deity for the season is present. And then lack of willpower. Because now we might say what we want, but lack the ability to go get it or go do it or know where to start. Just having the decision to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen. Put the diligence in, put the work in. So, Heru. Heru is our willpower. Heru is the falcon who soars above the earthly plane. So Heru is saying, go forward, right? Whatever you put out there, go get it. Go directly to it. And in going directly to it, reach for the highest reality. Reach for Ra, the sun, the life sustainer, the life giver. Go for it, right? And then going back, before Heru and Ra was the deity of the season, the deity of the first season was Heru and another person, if you remember. Gad. So look at wise instruction. Be not arrogant. That's Gad. Be humble. Be grounded. So soar with Heru, but be grounded. Don't take it upon yourself to feel like you will know it all or you got it all together, because you don't. But in doing so, when you put forth the effort and the diligence, not losing any time in it, you're going to make it happen. It's going to manifest for you. Remember, the universe works in accordance to you. We all can be right. The universe is waiting for you to declare fully what it is that you want and how you want to get it. And then you're going forward for it, and you will have it. You will have it. And that's come back to when I say my power. So that's how I approach this season. So we shouldn't be lacking in our thoughts, even if we are lacking in our current possession. Don't lack in your thoughts, right? Now, what will bring forth all of that? Another aspect of our wise instruction is the book of Ani, page 53 in the book of Ani. Number 2. We just did it. Our libation. It says here, pour libation for your father and mother who rest in the valley of the dead. God will witness your action and accept it. Do not forget to do this even when you are away from home. For as you do for your parents, your children will do for you also. Now, your father and mother, if they are off the physical plane, but your elders, your ancestors, pour libation daily. Now, do you only do it when you're home? Even when you're away from home, right? Those are the little things that these instructions, these are codes that bring you to the reality that you're striving for. Just a reminder, sometimes we lose our way, sometimes we forget, Sometimes we get a little bit, what's the word I want to use? Caught up. Say it again. We get earthly, right? We get tore up. So I pour libation every morning, you know, and in pouring libation, I don't pray per se. I give gratitude. I give thanks. I say dua for life, strength, health. Dua, food, clothes, and shelter. Dua for land, bread, and housing. Dua for opportunity. Dua for challenge. Dua for controversy. Don't just give thanks for the good things. Give thanks for that which is going to force you to come out of your comfort zone. And we're with the tech red. I'm wearing my red today, representing Satesh, which is all about opposition and challenge, right? Here's a question regarding Satesh. And I talked about Ra. Ra is the Most High. And the Most High has a battle, eternal battle, every night. Our ancestors said when the sun goes down, when Ra goes down, he is fighting Apep. Apep represents chaos and confusion. And Apep is trying to bring chaos and confusion. And for the night, Apep is winning. But Ra becomes victorious in the morning again and rises and shines on us. But Apep forever hungers and is waiting the next night. Now, Ra decided one of his grandchildren would help him fight Apep. Who is it? Why would opposition be the best suited to fight evil? Why is opposition the best suited? That's what Satesh represents. Opposition. Opposing. And what's in that word opposing is opponent. Why would the opponent be the best one to fight against evil?
Do they cancel each other out?
No. No. It says that Ra acts and Satesh is the lead on the solar bark. So Satesh is in the front, sparing Apep for Ra. So the lesson is that opposition pushes us to be our highest self. So opposition is our best and our most convenient source of power. Now, I talked about what's in, I don't have it. I talked about what's in the temple. There are two objects that's most prevalent in every deity. Most of us know about one. We know the other, but we don't recognize the other for what it is. One is the Ankh. Do you know what the other one is? And on every temple, this is most prevalent. We see the Ankh in everybody's hand.
Iron horse?
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. The Ujjayi eye is there. But no, it's another one. It's another one. The Heru Bedek, that's there, but it's another one. Okay. It's the Wa staff. It's the Wa staff. What does the Wa staff represent? Power. But the Wa staff is representative of Satesh. So in Kemet, our ancestry has Satesh leading everything. Opposition leads everything. It's our most powerful force. It's our most powerful energy. Because once you feel opposite, then you feel energy to do something. Malcolm X said it this way. He said, nothing, when I feel sad don't make me want to do anything. It's only when I feel mad do I want to do something, right? So that energy, our ancestors were brilliant to say the most effective means of getting rid of evil in your life is to oppose it. The most effective means of removing that which causes you harm is to oppose it and to use the energy of opposition to vanquish it. So on that note, just to go a little deeper, I mentioned that I'm an educator. And this year has been crazy. It's been crazy. For those of y'all who are educators, we feel like it's June and it's only October. Yes. Physically, we are tore up, beaten down, lacking energy. And I'm running on 5 hours of sleep right now. Mentally exhausted. We're forced to wear a mask, so we're inhaling our own waste. So we're not getting oxygen. So it's contributing to our exhaustion, mentally not being able to think. Emotionally, just being drained. Being all things to all people. I'm a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, a friend. So emotionally being called in every direction. But spiritually, I do my work. I pour my libation. I give gratitude. I do my meditation. Spiritually, I'm refueled. I'm recharged. I'm refilled to go into all that. So spiritually is something different than all the other rest, and it balances all the rest. So again, are you where you're supposed to be? Are you where you want to be? If not, reflect on your practice. Reflect on your situation. And I will say, and this is the most important of the wise instruction. When you turn to spirit and you reflect on your spirit, then it refuels you for everything else. For everything else, right? So, with that said, come back to your memory. Those of you who were Christians, it said, let your light shine, right? Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now, don't start getting up in it now. We'll break out the tambourine. So be like Ra, let your light shine. And this is that season. So if you want to be, what's the word I want to use? A little bit, bold in your coloring, go for it. In your dress, go for it. You want to reflect your beauty outwardly, go for it. You have that permission, right? But be humble and be grounded. Because people will say, well, look at you, look at her, who's that? At work and so forth. And you could be in your segment bag, back off me, punk. You can get in your segment bag, But I'll just say, be in your humble bag, and just say that's right. Because that's what I'm supposed to be. I used to say to my students, the older ones, I call them all son, right? So I say son. And they'll say, why do you say son? I use a lyric from Wu-Tang. I call my brother son because he shines like one. Yeah, so they started adopting it. Yeah, so you call me son. Yeah, what up, son? I said, you trying to be slick, but I'm with you. I'm with you. So I call my brother son because he shine like one. I call my sister son because she shine like one. And we're children of Ra. So we shine. So shine on. Shine on. And don't be afraid to shine. Today is October 17th, and it's coming off of a weekend. I'll be remiss in closing not to speak on the significance of this weekend for me personally and for us as a people historically. October 15th, October 15th, 1966. See who knows what that date means in history, in Black history. One of you might know. October 15th, 1966. Yes, sir.
The founding of the Black Panther.
Yes, sir. Sir Chef Armin Cowell. October 15th, 1966, in Oakland, California, was the founding of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. That was its full name. And it holds dear to me personally because of my journey to manhood and enlisting in the new Black Panther Party for self-defense and being a part of the African people's liberation struggle and playing a small part in that. So we salute those elders and those ancestors who dared to struggle and dared to win on behalf of African people in North America. And they set a righteous example for us. Huey Newton was 24 years old at the time. Bobby Seale was 30 years old in 1966. So these were young men. And that also let us know something. We say elders for wisdom, youth for war. Our youth, and Hamnetta has said it, will be our salvation or our damnation. Our youth. The average age of the original Black Panther Party was 19. Young men and young women, you know, barely out of high school. I don't know if any of you saw the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, which was an interesting take. I urge you to learn more about the life of Fred Hampton and why he was a threat. One of the things that the Black Panther Party did, their lasting legacy, is creating a program that's now universal in the schools. And that's free breakfast for children. Prior to 1966, if your family couldn't afford breakfast, you went to school hungry. So one of the issues in schools they talk about is bullying, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. But I can't imagine in 1965 what bullying was like. Because if somebody had some bread or, you know, they walk into school and somebody didn't, you know, you get knocked upside the head. Wasn't no sharing in there, you know. Give me that. But the Black Panther Party, young men and young women, 19 years average age, would get up early in the morning. They organized with churches to have the spaces open or civic centers. They cooked breakfast. They brought the children in and they served them. And the program that had the most children being served was Chicago and Fred Hampton. And he himself was 19 years old, 20 years old when he was killed. The director of the CIA, the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, declared the breakfast program to be the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States. Now, why would feeding children be a threat? Because the Panthers had a 10-point program and platform. And so they understood that meeting the needs of the community also allowed the community to be receptive to receiving a different type of knowledge and information. And when the community receives a different type of knowledge and information, then the community can act on it. The Panthers believed that they would be the vanguard party, the leading party of the revolution, but they were not the revolution themselves. And in fact, they were part of a larger movement called the Black Power movement. And the government used illegal tactics to destroy the Black Panther Party. They're still using those tactics today. The program was called COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program. They had 5 tenets. Prevent the rise of a Black Messiah. So prevent one who could organize and electrify the masses. Most of the leaders whom we know, their words caused people to move. So they wanted to remove someone's ability to use words to captivate an audience, like Fred Hampton. prevent the rise of what they call black nationalist hate groups. Their word is hate, because a revolutionary does what he does out of love. You can't get up early, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to a place that you don't know, prepare food, and serve it to children who are not your own because you hate them. Right? Prevent organizations from connecting so that those organizations who were doing that work would never be. I mentioned the founder of, or the person who authored this book, The Usia. His name was Dr. Maulana Karenga. The Black Panther Party was founded in Oakland, California. Dr. Karenga founded an organization a year earlier in Los Angeles, California, called the United Slaves, the US organization. This elder who just transitioned, Brother Amanifu, who I had the honor of knowing, was a member of this organization, Refile. He painted this room and fixed the room. Elder Amanifu just transitioned, but he was one of the founding members of the Kwanzaa celebration, which the US organization created. Brother Amanifu was there. The Black Panther Party and us was forced to go against each other, if y'all know their history. And in so doing, several members were killed. The people who killed them was actually FBI agents that had infiltrated the US organization. So I give you that history because we celebrate our elders and our ancestors, and we still have many of them who are locked down in prison today. We call them political prisoners and prisoners of war. Then, October 16th, who knows the significance of that day in history? October 16th,
What year?
1995. The Million Man March. I was part of a group of about 50 men and elders. You know, I was a young boy at the time at William Patterson University. I was 21 years old. 21 years old. So we journeyed 6 o'clock in the morning to Washington, D.C. To answer the call of Minister Louis Farrakhan. And regardless of what you think of him and of the Nation of Islam, again, not being arrogant, the Creator never saw fit to give him the vision and the thought and then the will to put that into existence. We arrived at 10 a.m. and was over 1 million men there already at 10. At 10 a.m. By 2 p.m., it was over 2 million brothers. And one of the most incredible moments I ever participated in my life was being a part of that audience. I don't know if y'all eat bean pies. But if you eat bean pies, you normally need something to wash it down because the bean pies is good and sweet. Well, they had some brothers, it's a little dry, from St. Louis. They had bean pies that were so good, it quenched my thirst. That's how good it was. If I go to St. Louis, I'm looking for these dudes. I've never had bean pies that good. That's one of the most incredible things I remember from that day. The other thing I remember is being passed, because we went up to the front as far as we can get to the front, and we couldn't get back because there was wall-to-wall men, and so there was no path to walk. So they was like, we're gonna lift you up. So brothers, I don't know who they were, they lifted and we passed each other down. Right? It was incredible. Now, you know what the name of, or the title of the march was? What it was for? It was more celebrated the second year, but it was called a Day of Atonement. It was a Day of Atonement. So what was important and what was impactful was for us as men, young and old, to show the world that we could love, care, respect, and honor each other, our women, our elders, our children, and our community. And as a result of that, more black men got involved in civic and social activities, came back to their communities. Those who came home from prison came home with a renewed purpose, in a sense, of living, and began to contribute to their community. It's one of the reasons why I'm an educator, and my mission is to be an agent in the uplift of African people, being a part of that audience. So if anyone ever told you it didn't accomplish anything, that's not true. It accomplished much, just by giving us a spirit of knowing as men, we can love, honor, and respect each other, as well as our women, our children, our elders, and our community. So I just wanted to share that with you because that was important for me. And I couldn't come on this mic after having this weekend pass and not mention that. So in closing, I want to share another and this one is from the book of Keti, page 50, number 2. It says, following the footsteps of your ancestors, for their mind is trained through knowledge. Behold, their words endure in books. Open and read them, and follow their wise counsel. For one who is taught becomes skilled. Do not be evil, for kindness is good. Make the memory of you last through love of you. Multiply the people whom the city shelters. Then Netter will be praised for your donations, and the people will give thanks for your goodness and pray for your help. With that said, I hope my words have caused some thought, some reflection, given some information and some inspiration. Bars. That's from Hemnetta. Now, the reason why I gave that's from my Hemnetta Ron son, Ku Kepper, who, among other things, is a poet and an MC. Today is National Black Poetry Day. Okay? In honor of Jupiter Hammond, an enslaved African who was one of the earliest poets. So there you go, some bars. If that was good, you want me to close out, right? Okay, we stand. And if we leave in peace and satisfaction, put your left foot front, hands in our posture. We're going to say, Shimmy Matep.
Shimmy Matep.
Dear new Uncle Jocelyn.
Dear new Uncle Jocelyn.
Sisters cross left over right, brothers right over left. Open and give energy around the room. Bring it back to the heart chakra. Retract the foot. And we're going to ground it out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Dua Netta.
Dua everyone for joining us in person as well as online. Thank you to those of you in person who left donations at the altar. For those of you who are online who would like to send a donation to help us to facilitate the work that we do, you can do so on Cash App, $ Temple of Anu, or by PayPal, templeofanu@gmail.com. We appreciate the energy and reciprocity that you send to us in the form of your donations in exchange for the energy and that you receive from us today. We look forward to seeing you all on Facebook and YouTube Live at our next regularly scheduled Kemmunion, which will take place in 2 weeks. Shami Mateb, everyone.